G'day. AJ Mahara here. Beware the hoovering, untreated, borderline. Wow. They will come with apologies, regrets, promises, seemingly new awareness, but they've had no treatment or no therapy. Beware the hoovering borderline who just changes the whole story of why they ghosted you or discarded you. Beware, because when they come back, I mean, if they made false accusations against you in a court of law, and then they offer to drop that, and they're going to drop that, and maybe they're already dropping it, right? And so that's going away. And they say, but like, I'm so sorry because I really love you. What the hell? What does that mean? From an untreated borderline ex who ghosted and or discarded you, and they come back a hoovering with, I really love you. Haven't you seen that roller coaster show before? Wherein they abandoned you and betrayed you and they didn't have any love for you. You might have got fooled. You might have misunderstood because you couldn't have known in the idealization phase, mirroring in the beginning, and the honeymoon phase. But wow, beware the untreated borderline who comes a hoovering. Because they come a hoovering with a boatload of BS. They come a hoovering with what they know that you want to hear. How is it that they do that so well that more people than not, really, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but so many people, they get this hoover, false hope again, but you think it's hope, but it's false hope. Oh, but they really do love me. Are you forgetting what they did to you in the first place? Are you forgetting the whole other half of the cognitive dissonance? Are you being hoovered right now? And you are just so confused because you're wanting them back so much, right? But what are you wanting back exactly? You're wanting back what you've already been through. Because you know what? When the untreated borderline comes a hoovering back and it's been like a month or a year even, or 2 weeks, what could have possibly changed with the untreated hoovering borderline? Well, what could have possibly changed? They've usually gone on to be with someone else, monkey branched or whatever, and they've been with someone else. And then, oh my goodness, the grass isn't greener over there. And that dissolves or, it falls apart one way or the other. Whether they ghost the other person or the other person, wants to break up in a hurry. There they are again without a relationship because their relationship nightmares, relationship impossibility, communication impossibility, untreated, I'm talking about. It changes when people get significant treatment and continue on in recovery. And people can heal and recover fully from borderline personality. But so many won't even go and start the process. So beware of the untreated borderline hoover from your ex. Because if you entertain what they're going to tell you and you go back around again, you recycle back into the relationship. I don't know what stats would be on this, but anecdotally, with 30 years worth of working with clients, I can tell you this much. Less than a 1% chance that it's going to work out. Like 0.05, if that. So pretty much not going to work out. Didn't work out before. So they come to you, the untreated borderline ex, with the hoover of like, they're saying everything that you want to hear, what you've been ruminating about. If only, I need another chance, I'd like another chance, I'd do something different, because it must have all been my fault. No, it wasn't your fault. Was it your fault that they treated you abysmally? Was it your fault that they yelled at you or they withdrew from you? Was it your fault that you could never be, quote, good enough? Was it your fault that they couldn't take in your love? Was it your fault that they didn't trust you? Can't trust? Was it your fault that they sought identity through you and couldn't even see or hear you? No, it wasn't, was it? So now, if you are getting a Hoover from the ex borderline untreated, you're going to be hearing everything you want to hear. This goes to something I said in a video the other day about when you're watching my videos or listening to them on this channel. Do you want to hear what you want to hear? Or do you want to hear what you need to hear? Do you want to hear what will help you to get into action, moving in another direction towards healing and recovery from where you sit right now in a world of hurt and then some? So when the beware the ex untreated borderline a Hooverin, because they're going to say everything that you want to hear. And what is this? Does this sound vaguely familiar? What happened in the idealization phase? You know, the mirroring, the idealization. It's not really love bombing with borderlines, by the way. It's not that sophisticated. And they're people pleasing through their codependency. What happened there? You heard everything that you wanted to hear and more. You felt more seen and heard than probably at any other point in your codependent life. And I mean that with respect when I put it that way. Because you had such an emotional hunger to be seen and heard. And along came this, unbeknownst to you, untreated borderline. And you may not have realized that you have codependency. And then this, fit that doesn't really fit happen. And then, remember what happened after that? Remember all the trying to rescue them. You were enabling them. You were trying to fix them. You were going through horrible things. And they treated you terribly. Beware. Beware. The ex-untreated Hooverin borderline. Now they're going to tell you everything that they know that you want to hear. And guess what? What you want to hear isn't what you need to hear. What you want to hear is the last thing that it's not healthy. And you're going to end up going back around and recycling again. Then you're going to get chewed up, spit out, discarded, ghosted again. And wonder, like, how could that happen again? Only the cycles, they don't really idealize you. So it's starting with a base mood, and what they need again, they're coming back. The untreated borderline Hoover, it's all about them. Oh yeah, the other relationship didn't work out, so now you're the one. You're it again. Oh yeah, you can be my holder of identity. You can, I want to merge with you again. I want to go around the same circle with you again that we went around before. Remember when we were together and how much I loved you? Says the untreated borderline. And the codependent is like, man, I've been ruminating. This is really hard and painful. Well, the sex, was great. And I'd really like to get them back. 'Cause yeah. And it's like, wait a minute, what? What? What love was great? What intimacy was there really? What about the push-pull? What about, the jade conversations and the arguments? What about the fact that they just can't get their stuff together and they won't go to treatment? It's like they start to play you a song. And it's your favorite song. But it's hurt you. You've been wailing away to this music or in agony to the music of this song. And they start playing it. Beware of the untreated borderline ex come hoovering, telling you everything you want to hear, nothing you need to hear, nothing that it's going to benefit you to hear. And the song starts playing, and within hours to days to 2 weeks to a couple months at the most, it's going to go the exact same way it went before. Why? Untreated borderline repetition compulsion cycles that are in their unconscious that they can't change and they can't fix and they can't do different. It doesn't differently. Doesn't matter what they're saying to you right now. If you're in this position, you're vulnerable. You're hurting. You're missing aspects of the relationship, maybe even more than others. Do you really want to hear the siren song of too good to be true, that's BS again, that you've already heard once and you're still in agony, and these breakups and getting ghosted and discarded is a special, complex variety of agony. And you might just be starting to get feeling a little bit better, and here they come. Oh yeah, with all these promises, but they've had no therapy. They've had no treatment. They're just saying what you want to hear. And can I stress it one more time? Do you want to hear what you want to hear that takes you back into the agony of the cycle? Or do you want to, more importantly, not hear what you want to hear and carry on with the struggle that you might be in right now to get into therapy or working in therapy to start to heal? It's like, beware of the untreated ex-borderline come hoovering with all those false promises. Remember how they lie? Remember how they lied to you before? Well, now they're lying to you, but it's what you want to hear. Look the heck out. Duck. Run. Because what could have possibly changed in a day, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year? And especially if they've had no therapy, the answer is nothing. And what you're about to do, if you're going to go back to the untreated borderline ex-hoovering, you're going back into the same meat grinder that you've already just got spit out the other end of, however long ago now. Make no mistake about it. I've been doing this work with clients for 30 years. And, have I seen these things work out? No. Just no. So again, I asked a question the other day. I'm going to reiterate it in a video. Do you just want to hear about the borderlines all day long? Do you just want to hear what you want to hear? Or do you want to hear what can help you to get into action, get into therapy, start a process, go forward, and get out of the agony? Why don't you want to be with yourself? Why don't you care enough about yourself? Why don't you want to know the self-worth in a healthy, functional relationship to and with yourself more than you want to go back to the ex who's just lying to you about everything? And even if they say, "Oh, I'll get treatment," no, only till they get you back. And as soon as you're back, no, I can't do that right now. No, I don't need that. Or beware of the ex untreated borderline hoovering with a line like this. Well, I don't actually have borderline personality disorder. I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And then you get all confused. Well, what if it is CPTSD? But wait a minute. Don't you remember what they were like before? Don't you remember all those borderline patterns that you saw, that you lived through, that you went through, that hurt you so badly? Beware of the untreated borderline ex hoovering. Because nothing they say is what you need to hear. It's all what you want to hear. But you've already been around that cycle before. Try to remember that. And try to remember that if you go back, you're going to get that hit. You're going to feel better for a short time. But it's going to go all off the rails again. And then you're going to get spit out the other side again. And the agony, you'll be back at square one with the agony. Untreated borderlines hoovering are lying fools. And even though I did a live stream sort of with this title, it's like, are you serious? Are you even considering it? Really? Are you serious? And I say that with passion, not judgment. Because the untreated borderline is not serious. They're just telling you what you want to hear because they're after what they need again. Remember that part? Everything ends up being about them, not because they're narcissists. BPD is BPD and NPD is NPD. There's a bit of overlap, but they're not one and the same. But haven't you heard this song before? Didn't that record grind to a halt record? Okay, so that's an old reference. But didn't that song just like go and stop playing in the middle? Once before? Same thing's going to happen again. Beware of the untreated borderline ex-Hoover and the promises and the, I don't have BPD anymore, I have CPTSD. And I didn't mean to do this, but this guy I was with, he made me do this bad stuff to you, and, I couldn't help it, and I really love you. So just to answer this question for me, for yourselves, right? What does it mean when a borderline untreated says, I love you? Zero sum. It means squat. Nothing. Because they don't know how to love. Because they can't attach. Because they won't receive your love. Because they need you, man. They need you. It's not even want. They need. They need you. And what about you? They're still not going to see you, and they're still not going to hear you, and there's all these false promises. So please beware of the untreated ex-borderline, a Hooverin. Because what they're telling you is a crock. They're telling you what you want to hear, and you've already experienced that once before. And where there is abuse, there is no love. So what's up with the ex? Untreated borderline Hooverin going, but I really love you. I really love you. Isn't that what they said in the beginning? In that big rush of intensity to get together, maybe get married, all that, have kids, whatever they pushed for that maybe you gave into and went through, or maybe you didn't. But when borderlines who are untreated come back a Hooverin, and that's an ex, why in the world would you believe what they have to say? Why in the world would you think anything could be different about them? When you're still struggling, and depending on the length of time, maybe you haven't been able to change anything about your experience just yet. With all that's happened to you, with how much they hurt you. Don't forget that part. The ex, untreated borderline Hoovering, is giving you a load of BS. And when they say, but I love you, it's really you I love, maybe what's dancing in your mind, or maybe what is starting to pulsate in your body, is that hit. Ooh, maybe it's the sex. Could it be the sex? Or could it just be all of the aspects of the torturous abuse that they gave you before? Remember how wonderful that felt? Of course it wasn't wonderful. This is why you're still in a position where you want to hear what you want to hear. It will take you around the same circle, and it will spit you out the other side, and you will be back at square one and more addicted than ever. And a lot of people are getting these Hoovers from the untreated, unchanged, still unable to love and attach, but I love you, ex-borderline, partner, and then you're going to believe it. Why? You're going to do that to yourself. Why? Anyway, I think I made my point here, and it's the best I can do. And a lot of people, sure, I realize how people feel, and you want to hear what you want to hear. And you might still feel like you love them, even though you don't know who the hell they are, right? It's like, well, who I loved and who I fell in love, not really who he or she was, but okay, now they're hoovering me, and they're telling me they love me, and that's what I need to hear, so yeah, why not try that again? Why not just put your head in the toilet and flush it instead? It's sum zero that they're offering you. Sum zero. More of the same. Again, more abuse, more pain, more drama, more chaos, no better communication, no better relating. They're going to be exactly the same as they were the first time, or the second time, or the third time, or whatever cycle you're on. Beware of the untreated X, BPD-X, borderline X, hoovering you, saying what you want to hear. It's the last thing in the world you need to hear. Take care of yourself.